I am in a very privileged position in which I own a lot of third-party stuff on D&D Beyond, because I bought it. Nobody gave it to me, just so we're clear. It's one of the reasons I do the reviews here on the channel, to sort of semi-justify the fact that I keep doing them, especially as my players can never keep up with the amount of stuff I'm buying. But I thought it would be fun to use the books for more videos. Yes, videos here on YouTube, can you imagine? And to that end, I've decided I am going to pick my favourite spells at each level, and probably do the same for feats and magic items too, to sort of help you figure out what each book is about beyond the subclasses, which obviously I've talked about before. There are two things which are true of me. The first is that I like to start at the beginning, and the second of which is that I like alphabetical order. So that will be the order that this list is in. I have picked 10 of my favourite cantrips this time, from the various books that I own that are not first-party ones, and I will be sharing them and going over with them and explaining why I like them so much. At this time, though, I'm cheating. I could not cut one of the 11 I chose, so I'm throwing it in as an honourable mention, which we will kick things off with. This is my honourable mention for this video. This is Evil Eye, which is a cantrip from the Cthulhu by Torchlight book, not the only one I have in here. The power level for Cthulhu by Torchlight is based on the concept that you're fighting Cthulhu, not necessarily the standard D&D kind of level of stuff, which means that a lot of the abilities can feel a lot stronger. And while I don't particularly mind that, I am aware that a lot of DMs aren't going to necessarily love that, and a lot of players might not like that too. Evil Eye is a really good example of that. This is a one action cantrip with a range of 120 feet anywhere you can see, and it does psychic damage. It has no attack and it has no save. Instead, when you look at the creature, it takes 1d4 plus 2 psychic damage. Along with that, any attack rolls and unarmed strikes against it, it's weird that it specifies that, because that's still an attack roll, can crit on a 19 or a 20 on a d20, so it doubles your crit chance as well. This then goes up by another d4 plus 2 at the various levels you would expect, 5, 11 and 17. The reason that I don't think that a lot of people will allow this is purely because it hits, it always hits, and that can ruin the immersion for some people. I have an Aberrant Mind Sorcerer who uses this in one of my campaigns, and I quite like it. I think it's fun. But I am an oddity in that space. I think. I could be wrong. If I'm not, let me know. With that out of the way, let's get into the list proper, and we're going to kick things off with a Crooked Moon cantrip. Bloodbolt has a casting time of 1 action as well, and a range of 90 feet, and it's from... I don't think I'm that bothered about the school, but there you go. You hurl a twisting bolt of blood at a creature. You make a ranged spell attack against the target, nice and simple. On hit, it takes 1d6 necrotic damage, and you gain a number of temp health equal to your proficiency bonus. This is available to sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards, as well as being part of the Crimson Sorcery subclass as well. I like this a lot generally, but it definitely feels like one that's going to feel amazing if you're running an Eldritch Knight or something along those lines, where you're using cantrips alongside attacks, and the temp health is going to be really helpful in that case. The damage goes up by 1d6 at the various levels, and I just think it's fun. I like the blood-themed stuff quite a lot. Next, we have another Cthulhu by Torchlight spell. This is Cat's Spring, which is also an action. You are the target this time, and it's a melee attack. You jump up to 10 feet to an unoccupied space you can see and deliver a spectral claw attack that deals slashing or force damage. You get to choose, and you make a melee spell attack against the creature 10 feet away. On a hit, they take 1d8 of the chosen damage type, and the next attack roll you make against it before the end of your turn has advantage. This is available to bards, druids, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards, so it's pretty much all of them. And that means this is a really good spell for the Gish options, whether you're a Valor Bard or anything else. This is a great way to literally hop into the action. It improves your movement speed, along with the fact that it does the damage, and it gives you advantage. So it basically has the Vex Mastery property. Those are all good things. Obviously. Again, this might be kind of closer to the end of too powerful for some people, and that's fine, but I really like it, probably because I like cats. Next, we've got one that does not do damage. This is Drafan's Bane of Excellence. This is from the Book of Ebb and Tides. The Book of Ebb and Tides is a third-party book I haven't really talked about on the channel before. I like a lot of what it does. It's also very setting specific in a lot of the spells and feats and everything else that it has, but I think it's cool, and hopefully this series is a good chance to show off the bits that I like. This is an action again. It has a 30-foot range, and it lasts for a minute, but it is also a concentration check. Concentration spell. Extraordinarily tired. He says, like it's news. A creature of your choice within range makes a charisma saving throw. A creature of your choice within range must make a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, the next ability check, attack roll, or saving throw the target makes within the duration that results in a 20 on a d20 fails to have any effect. The number of times this Cantrip can turn a natural 20 into a failure, increases by 1 as you reach the various level breakpoints. I have a great deal of respect for the level of petty of which this cantrip wants you to embody. You say absolutely not to one specific enemy, player, or something else, and then you stop them. You don't just stop them critting, you stop them, it fails if they roll a 20. This is amazing if you are fighting enemies with advantage that you really, really don't want to be crit by. Enemy paladins, things like that. I think this is an incredibly cool spell. This is available for bard, clerics, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards. No druids. No, it's not very natural, so it makes sense. Next we have Eyeburn, which is also from the Crooked Moon book. Not a huge surprise, I really like that book. This is a reaction spell. A reaction which you take when a creature you can see within range targets you with an attack. You sting the eyes of a creature attacking you. So 30-foot range, sorry. The target must make a con saving throw, which isn't a great saving throw. Creatures are very good at those, generally speaking, but this is a reaction spell, so I don't think it feels as bad as some other options. A creature with blind sight or immunity to the blinded condition automatically succeeds on this con save. On a failed save, the target has the blinded condition until the end of its turn. At the end of the turn, sorry. On a successful save, it must subtract 1d4 from the triggering attack roll. The target automatically succeeds on saves against subsequent castings of the spell for 24 hours. This one does not get better as you level up, which I think is a shame, but it makes sense because attack rolls are always the same. Yes, they get better modifiers, but theoretically your AC is going up, so you can't bump it up too much or it's too strong, basically. But again, it is also a con save. I like the design of this one a lot. I don't think it's as powerful as the other ones on the list, but I've taken a few utility ones in amongst the damage ones here too, because I really like utility cantrips. Next we have Finger Guns, which is canonically what my bard does constantly, because he's an idiot. And before any of you suggest it, yes, that is easy for me to play. I too am an idiot. This is from Valda's Spira's Secrets. I think it's also in the Gunslinger class if you end up buying that. I would recommend both. Personally, I think the Valda's Spira's Secrets is a bit more memey than some players and DMs would like, but I really like it. And the Gunslinger is just a lot of fun to play around with. This is a bonus action, it's our first bonus action, and it lasts for a minute. You extend your forefinger and thumb, a dangerous gesture mimicking a gun. For the duration, your hand counts as a simple ranged weapon with a range of 60 feet short, 240 feet long, and the slow mastery property. You can use your spellcasting ability instead of your dex mod for the attack rolls of this weapon. On a hit, the weapon does 2d6 force damage and doesn't add your ability modifier. I love all of that a lot. Again, this is one that feels amazing on Gishes, especially if you're playing a ranged Gish character. I think Artificers a lot, basically. Especially if you're playing a Warforged or something, then the finger gun feels especially thematic. Another thing I really like about this is the design of the way it improves. Rather than the damage going up, the range goes up. At the various breakpoints, it goes up by 30 feet on the short range and 120 feet on the long range, which means that by the time you hit level 17, when granted 2d6 is not great, you have a range of 150 feet at your short range and 600 feet at your long range. I would also rule this as working with Spell Sniper because you're using your spellcasting mod, not your dexterity mod to do that, which means that would be longer than that too, if that's how you want to rule it, and potentially working with Sharpshooter if you go the other option. Either way, it's cool. I just like it. It's a shame the weapon doesn't have the light property. It's something I learned earlier about unarmed strikes. Unarmed strikes also do not have the light property, which is very silly, but here we are. Next we have a cantrip from the Helliana's Guide to Monster Hunting, which, as you all know, I am a big fan of, generally speaking. I recently went through and upgraded the crafting rules. I took the base things that were there and I put it all onto a spreadsheet, and then I added a few hundred third-party items to the mix so that my players have more options when they're carving stuff off of different monsters. It will be worth it. My players will be happy, and that brings me joy. Magnetobolt is a 90-foot range, one action, instantaneous cantrip that attacks the strength saving throw. This is notable because strength saving throws are rare, generally. Monsters can be good at them. It's pretty obvious usually when ones are, but it's less of an issue usually than constitution saving throws. A near invisible pulse of arcanomagnetic energy shoots towards a creature within range. Make a ranged spell attack against the target. On a hit, the creature takes a 1d6 force damage and then must succeed on a strength saving throw or be knocked prone. So you still get the damage either way, which is good. A creature made of ferrous metal or wearing ferrous metal armor has disadvantage on the saving throw. I don't know why, but I feel like Dungeon Dad would love that particular bit of it. The spell damage increases by 1d6 at the various breakpoints. While the damage isn't incredible here, and strength saves are better than some saves to attack, but still tricky, the ability to make a creature prone is huge. So It's one of the reasons Sapping Sting is quite popular, as it does a similar kind of thing. But this is magnetic, and I don't know. It speaks to me as a person with magnetic toys in their home, both my own fidget toys and my kids. Another one from Valda's Spire of Secrets now with Moment to Think. This is another bonus action spell. When you cast this spell, you briefly stop time for everyone but yourself, which is an incredibly powerful effect, but hear me out. You can take one additional action and move around in your space while no time passes for other creatures. This action can only be used to take the search, study, or utilize action. Furthermore, you can't affect or damage any creature or object other than the object you are wearing or carrying. If an object leaves your hand, it also becomes frozen in time. This is really good for using an action to recharge a spell slot if you're a warlock, for example, or some other really niche interaction that you might not normally do, while also getting to use your action. It basically converts your bonus action into an extra action, but for very specific things, and I just think it's clever. We are back with Hellianas again now, with Swarm is a 90-foot range and one action again. Choose a target within range. A cloud of minuscule poisonous spiders floats on gossamer strands towards it. The target must succeed on a dex saving throw to avoid the spiders or become poisoned until the end of its turn. You will note that this does no damage, as is standard, not until you get higher levels, and I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing, because poisoned is a nasty condition, and it's also until the end of its next turn, which is amazing. The spell deals poison damage on a failed saving throw when you reach certain levels. At 5th, it goes to 1d10, 2d10 at 11th, and then 3d10 at 17, so it's actually pretty strong late in the game. This is just a strong effect, irrelevant of what kind of build you're going for. Being able to poison a creature is huge, so yes. Good stuff. Our penultimate option here is from the Illrigger class, which comes with spells. Did you know that? Now you do. This is Vengeful Blade. It has a casting target of you and familiar. This will feel very familiar if you are used to Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade, sorry. You brandish the weapon used in the spell's casting and make a melee attack with it against one creature within 5 feet of you. On a hit, the target suffers the weapon's attack's normal damage, and then radiates a dark aura of energy until the start of your next turn. If the target makes an attack or casts a spell before then, the target takes 1d8 necrotic damage and the spell ends. The spell's damage increases when you reach certain levels. At 5th level, the melee attack deals an extra 1d8 damage, and the penalty for attacking or casting a spell goes up to 2d8, and then this increases by 1d8 at 11th and 17th as well. This is basically, what if Booming Blade was necrotic damage, and on attacks, not movement. This is a lot better for who want to be straight up against enemies, like trading blows, because the creature's not gonna avoid attacking you. And while I do love Booming Blade, I really like this take on it as well. And I also think having more of these spells is a good thing. Our final cantrip for today is Water Whip, which is another Hellianas one. This is also an action, and it has a 60-foot range, and it is another strength saving throw. This one is complex, but I like it. Choose a source of water you can see within range that has a volume of at least 4 pints. You cannot choose a tankard. It's a big tankard. Make a melee spell attack against a creature within 30 feet of the source of water. On a hit, so really the range is actually closer to 90 depending on how you're positioned. On a hit, the target takes 1d6 slashing damage, and if the creature is large or smaller, you can force it to make a strength saving throw, pulling it up to 10 feet towards the source of water on a failure. The spell's damage increases by 1d6 at the various breakpoints, but the distance also increases by 5 feet as well, which is a really nice bit of design again. This is a fun spell. This is a niche spell, and one which you sort of have to work to get to work, and I don't know if the damage is necessarily high enough to really justify that, but I love the design space, and I love the feel of it when you're casting it as a player. It can do some really cool things. That is, however, it for this particular video. I hope you enjoyed me talking about cantrips instead of subclasses. It's certainly a lot easier on my brain. And also, apologies for the voice. I'm very, very ill and haven't slept properly in about a week. It's just the way things are. It'll be fine, I'm sure. If you enjoyed this though, do let me know. I will be moving on to level 1 spells next time, and there are some incredible spells in my library of things that I have. And hey, maybe if we're lucky, a new third-party book will come out in that time, because I'm kind of jonesing to do some more subclass reviews. And while we do have Wizards stuff around the corner, I'd love to get another third-party book or two in before that. My wish list is very much the second half of Helliana's Guide to Monster Hunting, but another class from Valda would also be good. Wouldn't complain about that. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. It means a huge amount to me, and I do appreciate the support, and I really appreciate your comments as well, and likes and everything else. It's cool. It makes me happy that I'm doing this as a silly thing on the side. But that's all. So I will see you next time. Do take care. Goodbye.